Alright, so this is the dress we are making in this tutorial. Okay, so this dress is a very simple maxi dress. You can use it for occasions, you can use it for anything of your choice. Anything is casual and is occasional together. So this is the dress, and that is what we are making in this class, in this tutorial. So this is a 10 minutes sewing class. 10 minutes, you can make this dress in 10 minutes. So if you follow the video instructions, you'll be able to have a smart dress sewn for whatever thing you wish to do. Okay, you have an occasion, you just put in this dress, 10 minutes, you make it and wear it and rock it to your occasion. So you can see it's actually looking beautiful. The neckline, the sleeves, everything, you can see it's a maxi dress looking beautiful and gorgeous. So right now, if this is what you want to learn, please stay tuned till the end of this tutorial. We are jumping right into this tutorial right away. This dress we are making is a maxi gown, and we can make it very easy in 10 minutes. So this is what we have here. I've already placed my fabric on fold and folded it again, the normal way we make our maxi dress. So I've already folded it, and here is my center front, as you can see. So this is the center front, and the length of this gown, from the beginning, the length of this gown is 60 inches. Okay, normally 60 inches. So from the shoulder line, this is my shoulder point, I'm going to measure my hip measurement. My hip measurement is 29, so I mark the 29. Okay, so we are going to ignore our seam allowance to sew on the upper part. It's okay. So by the time you sew, you will come to 28 and a half, and it's perfectly okay for what we are making. So on this line is my hip, and that is what we need for this simple dress. I'm going to measure my hip circumference divided by 4 plus 6 inches. So my hip is 46, divided by 4 is 11 and a half, plus 6 inches, this is 11 and a half. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 will give me 17 and a half. So you are going to make a mark at 17 and a half. You also come back and place the 17 and a half on the hem. So here is my 17 and a half, I make my mark. So on this 17 and a half, I'm going to sew, cut from here, and once I cut, I'll come over to the shoulder once again. So on the shoulder, I'm making use of 26. So 26 from the center front line. So this is my 26, and we are going to have a cuff at this point. So that cuff is going to be 5 inches cuff. So this is 5 inches, but I'm going to multiply 5 by 3.5. So here I have about 18 inches or thereabout. So at this 18 inches, I'll simply connect my line. Okay, so I'm cutting everything, including my seam allowance. So here I've connected my line. So I don't really want to mark much on this fabric because it wobbles a lot. Alright, so we want to go over to the neckline. For the neckline, I'll just come to the center front, as you can see, and I'm going to measure 4.5 for my neckline, and the width I have here is 3 inches, or let me do 2.5, because we are cutting both the back together. So I'll just connect my rounded neckline to that 4.5 for the back. So by the time we separate this, I'm going to cut down more the neckline for my front. So now I'm going to cut what I have. Right now, like I said, this is very easy to make, and it's also beautiful, as you can see. So make sure your center front, back and front is relaxing accordingly. So here I'm going to cut on a straight course. So once I get to that part I'm going to cuff in, I'll just go this way. So we have our seam allowance, everything added together. Okay, so I'll cut from the hem right now. So the hem, the length is, we have on the hem here is 60 inches. Alright, so this is the shape we are going to have for this beautiful gown. So at this point, I'll come over to my neckline where we marked 4.5, and I'm going to cut it to the 2.5. So at this point, one part is going to serve as a, we are going to use one part right now to serve as the front, and the other part will serve as the back. But we are going to cut the front after we are done sewing this beautiful dress. So it's high time for us to start sewing this dress. So this is what we got on our cutting. So like I said, we cut the both necklines for the back. Later we'll adjust or recut the front because the front needs to be deeper. Okay, so this is it, and that is what we have. So now I'm going to take off my pins, which I used to hold them together, and we want to cut and sew the cuff. So the first part we are going to do is to go to the machine. So on this part, I'm going to lay it open. I'm going to lay everything open, as you can see right here. So I will lay it open, and I'm going to gather. I'm going to gather into one, into the puff. I'll also gather here into the cuff. Okay, so the cuff is going to be on the measurement I have right here on my sleeve. So I'm going to take the measurement of what I have here and add 1 inch for it for the cuff. So let me gather this part first, and I'll be back. Alright, so on the sleeve part right now, I've gone ahead to gather the sleeve into my puff. Okay, so I'll be showing you how I gathered this into my cuff. So this is the side of the dress, and the sleeve has been gathered right there. So the neckline remains where it is, and this is the other part of the sleeve. Okay, I told you I was going to gather that part, so I've gathered that part, and here is my cuff. So before you gather, make sure you make a notch at the midpoint so you'll be able to gather this evenly. So this is the puff the cuff I'm using to sew this. This cuff measures 3.5 and the length measures 14 inches. Okay, so by the time I sew off half an inch, I'll be having a round measurement of 13 inches, which is okay. So this is it. I gave it a good press, ironed it down, and here you can see I hairstay it as well. So now I'm going to sew this. So this is the front part of the dress which I gathered. This is the front part of it. So I'm going to lay my puff in this manner. Okay, we are going to sew right side to right side. Okay, so this is the right side to the right side. So I just go over to the machine now, and I'm going to follow the stitches of my gathers on top of the cuff. So I'm going to do that. Once I'm done now, I'll bring it back to show you how to top stitch right on top of it. Alright, so now I'm done sewing my gathers. You can see I place it on top of my cuff, and I've sewn to the end of the sleeve. So make sure you make a crease line, okay, on the center cuff where you folded it. So now I'll go over to the machine. I'm going to fold in 0.5 and top stitch. I'll place it right on top of the gathers to cover it up, and I'm going to sew top stitch just very closely. Okay, I'm going to repeat this what I did right here, so you can see how I top stitched. So it's very close. So that is what I'm going to do right here by folding in 0.5 and top stitch. So I'll quickly do that and we'll proceed to the next. All right, so now you can see our maxi dress. We have gathered it into a puff on both sides, as you can see. So the neckline remains equal, okay, which I told you will be for the back. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go in a little bit by 1.5 inch or 2 inches for the front line. So what we are going to do now, we'll just go ahead and turn this to the back, because we want to finish up the sides. So to finish up the sides is just your normal side sewing. So I'm going to sew now at 1 inch till I get to the end. I'll sew both sides and I'll return so we can sew the neck. So I'm done closing up my sides. Okay, so I closed up at 1/2 inch. Okay, so we don't need too much allowance to it. So next is the neckline. I'm going to put the neckline. Remember, we cut the neckline together, so make sure you put it together. Once I've put it together, I'm going to use my pin to hold on to the shoulder seam line. So this is my shoulder seam line. So I'll just separate any part I wish to make my front and put them together again. I just want to, what I'm doing here is to reduce the front neckline. So I choose this part to be my front neckline. Okay, so I'm choosing one part to be my front neckline. Okay, so this is the part I want to be my front. So for this part, I'm going to increase the neck line. So from the shoulder seam line, I can mark it out with my chalk. I'll just go down more, a little more, by 1.5. Okay, so if you wish to make more, you can go ahead and do that. So this is my front neckline right now. So I take it back to what we had and take off my pins. So I've taken it back to the shoulder seam line. So hereby I've increased my neckline. So I'm now going over to the machine now. I'm going to use my bias strip to finish up my neckline and my hem, and we are done with